A chat between the Premier and industrialist James Dyson about taxes and ventilators causes amazement. A close confidant could have leaked the whole issue. For Boris Johnson, the matter was quickly settled when he stepped in front of the large empty benches for question time in the House of Commons on Wednesday. No, he will not apologize. After all, the Prime Minister said it was about saving lives. That wasn't enough. A survey became one of the most unpleasant in the politician's term in office to date, who is currently enjoying great popularity due to the successful corona vaccination campaign, but whose career has not been poor in bad surveys in the lower house. The background is a scandal, the elements of which are definitely reminiscent of Austrian political events. It's about a WhatsApp chat by the head of government, in this specific case, with an industrialist and Brexit supporter. And it is about the corona pandemic. It also deals with the question of how all of this was made public and whether there might not be more. That should also be the Prime Minister's greater concern, because the previous chats don't make him look particularly good, but they don't prove anything illegal. Specifically, the news between him and the industrialist James Dyson from March 2020 is about the procurement of ventilators, about which the Dyson company, among others, was in talks with the British government at the time. At that time, the latter was still debating the strategy of holding back the pandemic through targeted contamination of the younger and presumably more resilient sections of the population and herd immunity, which, however, was soon discarded. Dyson, the vehement Brexit supporter who later relocated his company to Singapore, asks in chat whether Johnson could ensure that he would not incur any additional tax costs as a result of the possible involvement in the deal. "We will fix it tomorrow," replied the Prime Minister. And the next day, "Rishi says it's done. We need you here." Rishi is Treasury Secretary Rishi Sunak, with whom Johnson apparently intervened in the meantime. The head of government himself says today that he will absolutely not apologize for having set heaven and hell in motion. That should be enough for now, but the opposition still smells morning air and finally a lever with which they can attack the government that has recently been so successful. One wonders with whom else Johnson has spoken about his private number, or via his private number, about private tax issues and his public office, said the head of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer. And the government must now make all other deals public that it closed in the high phase of the corona crisis. It's possible that the Dyson thing is just the tip of an iceberg. Around a fifth of all contracts in this matter, the NGO Transparency International recently said, seems suspicious and suggests corruption or favoritism. It's about a volume of £3.7 billion, that's more than 4 billion euros. A systematic bias in favor of people with ties to the ruling party can also be inferred from the agreements. Above all, however, the government is worried that the matter is over. Downing Street is currently being feverishly searched for who could have published the news. 3 major newspapers well connected to Johnson's Tory party, The Sun, The Telegraph and The Times, unanimously reported on Friday that the source for the revelations was Johnson's former advisor Dominic Cummings. The architect of the Brexit campaign and opponent of the party democracy had been Johnson's chief advisor until November and thus had access to the news, it said. Because he was, let's say, released in November, he is now angry with the head of government. If so, there may well be further revelations, because hardly anyone can provide information about the Prime Minister's administration as well as Cummings. And to be honest, we have one thing similar here in Germany. That means that members of government, members of parliament were directly talking to companies to get ventilators, to get personal equipment for help staff, etc., and to acquire this, to get this from all different companies. We had some idiots in parliament that tried to make money with this. They are gone now, at least gone from the parties. And if one of those companies would have asked for interference with the taxes, I'm quite sure that it would be regarded as illegal here. I said in this video, it's not regarded as illegal in the UK what Johnson did there. I have to rely on the information I can get on that one. I'm not a legal specialist in the UK, but I'm quite sure if some company would have said, yeah, we can deliver this stuff to you, but you have to make sure I don't have to pay taxes for this one, that would be damned illegal here in Germany. And so I'm quite curious how that will continue in the UK. We had consequences here for the people who put money in their own pockets in Parliament, and there are a lot of legal cases going at the moment, criminal court cases and investigations. So I'm really quite curious how that will continue. And from several sides now you hear that Cummings is behind that. I wouldn't be surprised if he were. And in that case, I'm quite sure he must have more in his pocket than just this one thing. So exciting times coming. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.